President Biden proposes $80 billion for the Internal Revenue Service. 5 former IRS commissioners write in the Washington Post this week that money could help create a fairer tax system. Fred Goldberg is of Counsel for Tax at Skadden. He served as IRS commissioner under George H.W. Bush. Charles Rossotti is senior advisor at the Carlyle Group. He served as IRS commissioner under Bill Clinton. They're two of the co-authors of the op-ed about the IRS in the Post, along with Lawrence Gibbs, Margaret Richardson, and John Koskinen. Commissioners, welcome. Thanks very much for joining me. Commissioner Rossotti, I start with you. Where is the agency today staffing-wise in relation to historic levels, sir?
Down, and no matter how you measure it, it's about 22,000 staff down just in the last 10 years. And you can even go back to World War II. They have fewer auditors than they had at any time since the war. So it doesn't matter how you measure it; it's just way down.
Commissioner Goldberg, you and your colleagues write in this piece, workforce attrition has been most pronounced among agents who examine complicated tax filings. What's the implication of that for the money that the IRS takes in and all of the budget implications across government because of that?
Yes, sir. There are two implications. One is the direct implication of fewer audits, fewer adjustments that flow through those audits. The other is indirect. As IRS audit rates decline, voluntary compliance declines. But I want to emphasize that the decline is not limited to that. It is also affecting service. There are points in time where more than 70% of working men and women can get through to the IRS. This is not the IRS's fault. It is a terrific career workforce. On top of these two activities, the last 10 years have seen implementation of the Affordable Care Act. They've seen implementation of multiple congressional enactments to address the economic impact of COVID. And is any of this perfect? No, but the IRS is doing a terrific job under extraordinarily challenging circumstances.
Commissioner Rossotti, you and your colleagues write in this piece that the solution here is 3 things: information, resources, and technology. You undertook a well-known effort to improve the way that people thought about the IRS when you were commissioner. Do you have a pet among one of those 3 choices that you think would deliver big bang for the buck?
Well, I do have a pet, but I will say the pet won't do it alone. The technology is really the thing that makes it possible to do what we think can be done today, both, as Fred said, on service as well as on compliance. Because, as you know, the whole world almost has been transformed by technology. And the IRS has also, to some degree. We now take it for granted that all the returns are filed electronically, nearly. And that's what made it possible, for example, to send out these economic stimulus payments rather quickly. But there's so much more that can be done and needs to be done by the investment in technology to improve the compliance process. The IRS, for example, can't even use all the information it gets from information returns, and there's some holes in those information returns. So if you say what's my pet, I think the technology is critical. But technology also doesn't work by itself. Let's say you use technology to identify a problem with a return. You have to have some employee there that's skilled on the other end of the line to be able to resolve the problem. So I can't say that you could just invest in technology and nothing else. You really need a balanced program, an integrated program of all 3 of the things that we mentioned.
Commissioner Goldberg, you agree with that? All 3 of those things are important to drive this forward?
Yes, absolutely. But Charles and I are quasi-neighbors right now, and we have a different set of pets. I agree with him that technology is absolutely the essential. Without the technology, it's never going to work. But the other piece is the funding that you referenced. And it's not feast or famine. Tell the IRS to go out and hire 1,000 folks this year and then not hire anybody. That's just a terrible way to run the system. Love your program because government does matter, but you can't make it work the way it's working these days when you have feast or famine. So the essential part of this proposal the administration is putting out is to also provide for mandatory 10-year funding. It's going to take the IRS that long to absorb it. It's not going to be a one-day miracle makeover. So I think that is essential, just like the technology is essential.
Commissioner Goldberg, the former acting commissioner, Danny Werfel, was on the program this week talking about the $12 billion budget that the IRS has now. If we take $80 billion, apply it over 10 years, that makes the IRS budget $20 billion. At the end of the 10-year period, is the IRS still a $20 billion organization, or should it be a $20 billion organization to be fully functional the way that you and your colleagues envision it?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Rossotti?
Well, I'll say this. It would still be smaller in proportion to what it was, even 30 years ago. I actually went back and looked for over 30 years, to see how it is. And it would, even after this increase, if you go 6% a year, which is what basically the administration proposed, even after that, accumulating for 10 years, it would be smaller than it was, even though the number of returns is up 30% and business returns are up 80%. So proportionately, it would even be smaller. And that's okay. It should be smaller because the technology can make the difference. But it can't be down to what it is today. That's just not workable.
Commissioner Rossotti, Commissioner Goldberg, thanks very much for joining me today. I'm grateful for your time.
Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.